Hey, it's Harry at Baltimore Comic Con. I'm here with Jamal Igle, and it's Sunday, and it's still kind of thick here.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get your thoughts, man. How are you enjoying the con so far?
It's been really good, man. I'm having a great time. This is my first big show all year. Like, I've been basically hiding in my studio working. But it's been good to get out and talk to people. You know, this is one of my favorite shows.
Right. Like I said, it's really nice that it's still intimate, it's still easy to get around and be able to talk to your favorite creators,
right.
Get a couple words in, let them know how much we admire their work. So.
Oh yeah, no, that's been a constant refrain, just talking to people. They like the accessibility, and the way that that Mark and Shelley laid the whole show out. It's wonderful. It's a welcoming experience as opposed to a lot of other cons where like lines were 6 feet deep.
Yeah.
People surrounding tables.
All you can do is just sign hi.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and the next thing you got coming up is New York, right?
Yeah, I'll be doing some panels and like 1 or 2 signings in New York, but I'm kind of going in and out of New York.
I feel you. So one of the big things I wanted to ask you about, because I know it's been like a really big concern on both sides, is this whole ComicsGate issue. I just want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, so maybe we should give it a little context.
Go for it.
All right, so ComicsGate refers to themselves, as they refer to themselves now, it's a loose affiliation of fans and bloggers. And it all sort of began when people started attacking Heather Antos, who was an editor at Marvel, where she posted a photo of women Marvel staffers having milkshakes on the anniversary of Clone Cyber's birthday. That seemed to set things off in a major way. But it sort of goes back a little further than that as well. You can trace it back to Chelsea Kane and the Mockingbird controversy with the last issue cover of Mockingbird, where she had the Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda t-shirt. It can go back even further to a guy named Richard Myers, sort of the center of ComicsGate, who actually, his activities actually go back all the way to like 2008 on the Jinx World boards and on the Bleeding Cool boards, where he was posting back then. Same MO, attacking LGBTQ creators, dismissing women creators, saying that comics have a right-wing agenda, all of this. So there's splinters to ComicsGate. Nobody can really tell you exactly what it is that they stand for because everybody's got different reasons for it. But a lot of it is based in 2 things. It's either based in this myopic view of what comics is in terms of political or social irrelevant content, which has always been a part of comics since the inception of comics.
Exactly.
And the other being sort of this gatekeeping mentality against newer creators of color, of gender, of sexuality, attacking trans creators, attacking gay creators, attacking black creators, But if you talk to some of the ComicsGate people, they're not bigots. It's all about it's all about quality. We just care about quality. Their ire seems to be attached to mostly seems to be attached to Marvel and what Marvel has been doing for the last few years in terms of trying to introduce more characters, not just of color, but elevating different genders, elevating characters like Carol Danvers and making her a more functional, a heroic character instead of running around in a black one-piece bathing suit with a lightning bolt on or whatever the hell that thing is.
With the thigh-high boots.
Yeah, with thigh-high boots. So there's a lot of that. It really comes from a misunderstanding of the material, and this idea. Also, another part of it is that comic book creators are beholden to fans.
Right.
that we should be treated with disrespect. And I'm not saying that you have to kowtow to comic book creators at all. We're human beings just like anybody else. But here's the thing that you have to understand about comics, and I know you understand this. Okay. So, the entertainment medium is not a service industry. Okay? We don't have it your way. The customer is not always right. We are content providers. Our job is to tell a story. Now, you can either like the story or not like the story. You can buy the book or not buy the book. Those are your choices. You can complain all you want. You know, you can bitch and moan and whine and blog, and if you hate Miss Marvel or you hate Squirrel Girl, fine. That's your right. That's your right as a human being. What you don't have the right to do is to go on social media and start cursing at people and start denigrating them and start making demands of them to cater to your specific taste. It is an artistic medium. It's an unusual artistic medium because it's a periodical product. You know? But at the same time, it's still an artistic medium. If you don't like what's happening in any given book, especially a mainstream Marvel or DC book, wait 6 months. Somebody else will come on.
Stop buying it.
Exactly. Stop buying it. If the book isn't doing well, they will replace the creative team. That is just the nature of comic books. But if it's really doing well, if you have a Scott Snyder or a Tom King or a Magdalene Viziago or Heather Antos, people who are good at their jobs. Oh, Heather's not working at Marvel anymore. She's making much more money doing gaming. But
good point.
Yeah, I mean, it boggles the mind that, and it's kind of across the board. It's not just comics. We're seeing it's toxic fandom.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And we're seeing examples of it everywhere. We're seeing it in film. We're seeing it in television. We're seeing it in gaming.
Every time we hear of a character that's coming out that was traditionally white or traditionally male, and sometimes combinations of both.
Right.
When they go against that grain, it's an uproar. It's an uproar, and that's kind of the thing I've begun to hate about fandom, and that's why I've got to the point where I don't like certain things, because I don't like the discussions that we have to have that, okay, for as much as comics have stayed the same or static for over 70 years, things change to fit the current time.
Exactly, and that's the way it's always been. And one of the things that I said earlier was that it comes from a misunderstanding and a misreading of the material. A lot of the people who seem to have attached themselves to ComicsGate are people who haven't read comics in a very long time, who are just getting back into it, but don't really know what's going on in current comics culture. And a lot of their opinions are based on the things that they remember reading when they were kids. But because they were kids, they didn't see all the subtext that was being put in those books.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because, like I was telling you earlier, I got back into comics back in 2008. That was my first time in just under 20 years. And I realized at that point how much comics had changed. And at that point, it changed for the better. I just learned, hey, I'm just going to go along with this.
Right.
Because I was amazed by a lot of the things that had changed out, what was going on with Spider-Man, what was going on with Superman. Batman has had like 2 or 3 Robins since Dick Grayson. It's like, okay, this is the sign of the time, and a lot of the things were, I guess, not necessarily politically correct, but a sign of what we were facing currently with social media. Because I've always seen comics as, again, if
it's a microcosm.
Right. If comics were still doing the same thing like what they were doing in 1942 or even in the 30s, Superman would still be punching out people with no question.
Exactly.
For no reason.
Exactly. I think, and this is sort of a direct plea to people who follow comics. I want you to make an investment to actually go back and read the books that you remember reading 10, 20, 30 years ago. you will find that there is a lot of socially relevant content in all of those books.
Oh yeah.
Comics are a microcosm of the bigger world. The first lesson that you learn as a writer is to write what you know. So the things that writers write about are things that are reflected in real life. Now, I understand that there's some people have the argument that comic books should be about escapism. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but you cannot have pure escapism without some sort of grounding, without some sort of meeting of the minds between the writer and the reader, something that we both connect with on a visceral level.
Right.
That's the way fiction functions. You know, any good fiction has a basis in some sort of reality. You know, look at how political Game of Thrones is. You know, you can make a direct correlation between what George R.R. Martin, who is super lefty, hate to break it to you, he's a super lefty. You know, we're not talking Orson Scott Card here. You know, and even Orson Scott Card is super political on the right side of the spectrum. You can't get away from that. You know, no matter what you try. And all you Star Wars fans, Star Wars is super political.
Now,
the Empire are the bad guys. They're fascists. Hate to break it to you. I love the 501st and all the charity they work, but they're called stormtroopers for a reason.
Nazi Germany. Well, before we go, tell everybody what you're working on, what you got upcoming, and what to expect from you in New York.
Okay.
Besides the panel. Tell them about the panel.
Okay, well, all right. So I'm going to be at New York Comic Con on Thursday primarily. I will be doing 2 panels. One is a comics production panel where it will be me, Jimmy Palmiotti, Buddy Scalera, and a few other key folks. I can't remember on the top of my head. And then right after that at 6:45 is the Ahoy Comics panel, which is a brand new company which I'm doing my latest project with. It's called The Wrong Earth. Issue 1 is in stores right now or available for reorder from Diamond. Issue 2 will be out the week of October 9th, I think. I think it's coming out the 11th. It is a story, basically a Caped Crusader, a sunny Caped Crusader swaps dimensions with his dark, gritty counterpart, and wackiness ensues. So that is The Wrong Earth. It is written by Tom Pyre. It is a 40-page book. We have a 3-page short story by Grant Morrison in the first issue. We have a Too Much Coffee Man cartoon by Shannon Wheeler. We have a Stinger backup story written by Paul Constant and drawn by Frank Canuso. It's a great looking book. You guys should check it out. I'm also working on Molly Danger. I'm working on book 2. And I've got more stuff coming. I've got covers I've done for Archie and a bunch of just busy. Very, very busy.
All right, dude. Thank you much.
No problem, Harry.
And we will see you again soon. We'll see you in New York. And good talk, man. And I hope a lot of people really pay attention to what's being said. Because, I mean, comics can be fun. We just got to learn how to find that fun again.
Absolutely. 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 I agree. And can I just say one more thing? Comic gators. I don't want to spend all my time on Twitter fighting. Right? We can come to some sort of a core, but you have to understand the reality of the situation. But that said, you don't start none, there won't be none.
That's it. We're out. This is H from Pop Culture Uncovered. We'll see you soon.